All right, so this is a Pad Pal from batch 4. This is the most recent version with the nylon housing. And I'm going to show you how to replace the motor and also disassemble other parts. So like if you need to replace the motor control board, this would also be the video on how to do it. But yeah, so a lot of you who purchased these, or actually every single one who purchased one of the Pad Pals from batch 4 got a bag like this with a replacement motor and everything you need to do the replacement. I'm sure you thought that was great and all, but you couldn't quite use it because you had no idea how to disassemble it. So let's get started. We're going to be using a Victorinox Classic knife with the nail file, just like the last version. Pop this off by squeezing it. And then the first step, just like last time, is to get the housing out. The motor control board out of the housing. Again, looking here, you'll see, let me see if I can get the light lined up just right. So it's illuminated. That's kind of hard to see, but there is a black component in there. Take the back side of the file and very gently push it out. You'll hear a pop and the motor control board will come out. You're just going to go ahead and disconnect your motor control board from the motor. Then you're going to unthread the motor cables. And this one's different from the last one I showed. The last ones I showed, the motors came out from the bottom. These actually come out from the top. It doesn't look like it, but they come out from the top. So you're going to want to push on it. And then that should pop them out. I should have gotten a paper towel for this because I don't want this thermal paste on my cutting board. But I'm gonna put this to the side. I'm gonna use my Toaks light load towel. Okay, so here are the individual components. The first thing we're going to do is open this baggie up, and you're gonna have a Q-tip, a replacement fan blade, of course your replacement motor, and an itty bitty thing of thermal paste. Grab that here. Okay, so first thing you want to do is make sure that the rotation matches on your fan blades, and you can see the rotation matches. This is important because the motors are rotation specific, and I should have checked every single one of them before shipping, but just in case, double check. And let me know if you have a problem, because that's definitely my bad. Okay, so first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the motor and then line up the cable, just insert it, and then just barely pop the motor on. Don't push it in too far yet. Then we're going to open up our thing of thermal paste. We're going to take our Q-tip. We're going to get some thermal paste on the Q-tip. And then next, you're just going to rub the thermal paste onto the motor around the circumference. And it really doesn't need much because the fitting should be pretty tight for a lot of these. And one thing I like to do is I like to hold the cable at the bottom, because just like you're seeing here, the motor did pop out because I didn't put it in all the way, and holding the cable still just kind of holds it in place while you're applying the thermal paste. Let's see here, looking all the way around it, it looks good. So now that it looks good, I'm going to go ahead and pop it in there. There we go. And then using the clean side of the Q-tip, I'm going to go ahead and wipe down the thermal paste that's squeezed out. There we go. Put that to the side. Next up, we're going to take these cables, and then using the knife, or the file, we're going to go ahead and line them up into this little channel. Push down to make sure they stay in there. Next up, you're going to grab your replacement fan blade, and then on these housings, you'll see a small groove. And wow, it's really hard to see in the video. Here we go, you can kind of see here. There's a groove right here. It's much easier to see in person. You want the tips of the fan blade to be within that groove. So when you go to press the fan blade onto the motor shaft, like this, you peek through the hole in the motor housing, and you just press down until it's lined up with the groove. And that looks really good. And hold up, I have this boiling over here. I gotta stop that. I'm doing cycle testing on some thermometer strips. Okay, so back to here. Doing that, looks like we popped out the motor cables a little bit. Put that back on. Okay, so next we're gonna thread the motor cables over here, push them into this hole. Then on this back side with the JST connector, just kind of hidden here. This isn't really necessary. This is just me being picky and trying to put a bend in the, like kind of pre-bending the cables so they stay in this position. Next, we're going to plug them into the board. There's two sides. This JST cable connector is directional. So you want the part with a little nib that goes facing down when plugging into the board. It won't let you plug it in the other way, so if you don't know this, you'll quickly realize it. Next up is to reinsert the motor control board. So for that, you'll see these two little lips. There's a lip on this side and a lip on this side. You're just gonna push the edge of the board under those lips, and then you're gonna use those lips to give you leverage to pop the board back in. Once you get the board right here, you're gonna grab the housing along this reinforced rim and then kind of squeeze it a bit. And then when you release the tension from squeezing it, this lip will come down and lock it in place. So now your board is now locked in. Then you're gonna push these cables off to the side if you can. One thing you could do if you really want to is thread them back through here, but usually like this is just fine. And then pop this on. And you should be good to go. Hope that helps.